FRANNY K. STEIN. One. FRANNY's house. The STEIN family lived in the pretty pink house with lovely purple shutters down at the end of Daffodil Street. Everything about the house was bright and cheery. Everything that is except the upstairs bedroom with the tiny round window. That room belonged to FRANNY K. STEIN, and she liked to keep it dark and spooky and creepy. Every day, few days, her mother would come in and redecorate FRANNY's bedroom with daisies and lilacs and pictures of lovely horses. It would always look so sweet and pretty. But by the very next day, FRANNY would somehow manage to make it look dark and creepy and spooky again. There was a house she liked it, like a dungeon, complete with giant spiders and bats. Bats? Where did she get bats? Her mother would ask when she saw FRANNY's room. Is there a bat store around here or something? Of course, there wasn't a bat store around. The bats just kept showing up. The bat liked FRANNY's room, and FRANNY liked the bats. They are like rats with pterodactyl wings. She'd say, "What's not to like?" FRANNY's room 2. Chapter 2. FRANNY's room. FRANNY's bedroom was really something special. It had a big steaming test tubes, strange bulbing beakers, and a whole bunch of crackling electrical gizmos that FRANNY had made all by herself. FRANNY's room also had a giant tarantula cage, a snake house, and a tank where she raised a special breed of flying piranha. She couldn't imagine why anybody would want daisies and lilacs when they could have a poison ivy and flytraps. Venus flytraps. There's no comparison, she'd say, docking one of her flying piranha. Funny thought, her was go great, so great, and so wonderful, and so perfect for her that she almost never wanted to leave it, but she had to, of course, for things like going outside, eating dinner, going to school, and using the bathroom, which is something Franny really liked to do. Oops, that didn't sound like it sound right. It was going to school that Franny really liked. Oops, that didn't sound right. It was going to school that Franny really liked. Chapter 3, New School. Franny and her family had just moved to the house at the end of Daffodil Street, and she was new at school. She liked her teacher, Mrs. Sally. She thought she would like the other kids too, but they really weren't very friendly toward Franny. But they really weren't very friendly toward Franny. Franny's lunch didn't look like the other kids' lunches either. And when they played hide and seek, no one could find her. Franny could tell that the other kids were afraid of her, and that made her sad because she really didn't want to make friends. Her teacher, Mrs. Sally, noticed what was happening, and one day she asked Franny to stay after class. Chapter 4, A Proposal. Mrs. Sally was the nicest, smartest teacher Franny had ever had. Franny used to think that if only she dressed differently and wore her hair another way, she would be perfect. You are a wonderful student, Mrs. Shelley said. Mrs. Shelley said, "You are a wonderful student." Mrs. Shelley said, "Thank you," Franny said. "I like school, especially science, especially the gooey part of science. I like the gooey part too," Mrs. Shelley said, and they both laughed. "I'm a mad scientist, Franny whispered. "That must be very rewarding," Mrs. Sally said, but she didn't really believe. She didn't really believe that Franny was a real life mad scientist. Franny could tell. "But I wonder if you might be a little lonely sometimes," Mrs. Sully continued. "I am lonely sometimes," Franny admitted. "But I don't understand the other kids and I don't know how to make friends with them. I think you could figure it out," said Mrs. Shelley. You are smart. Franny folded her arms. I don't know, Mrs. Shelley. Think of it as an experiment, Mrs. Shelley said. Franny's eyes lit up. A wide grin crawled across her face. An experiment was the one thing she just could not resist, and Mrs. Shelley knew it. The experiment. Franny pointed into the air, and the way mad scientists do when they think about conducting an experiment begins tomorrow. Chapter 5. The experiment begins. The next day, Franny came to school, prepared to start her experiment. Before class, she observed some of the girls playing with the dolls. Franny was delighted. She knew about dolls. She loved dolls. In fact, she loved them so much that she had even made some special modifications to the ones she had at home. Complainer, Champolina, Fashion Doll by F.K. STEIN. Champolina's steel teeth can easily munch the head of other. Steel teeth can easily munch the heads of others. Super dangerous. Who's it? Cuddly Doll by F.K. STEIN. Who's it? She's sticky gunk. Whenever you hug her. She was just about to tell the girls how Champolina could bite the head off their dolls when she noticed something. Their dolls were all kind of sweet and pretty. They all had long hair and flowery dresses. Not a single one of them oozed ugh. They didn't ooze anything. Franny made a note to herself, pretty non-head biting dolls, it said, and less oozing. At lunchtime, Franny sat down at a table with a bunch of kids. She was getting ready to take out her exquisitely delicious crab ravioli in pumpkin sauce when she made another observation. She was getting ready to take out her exquisitely delicious crab ravioli in pumpkin sauce when she made another observation. Peanut butter and jelly sandwiches on her left. Lunch meat sandwiches on her right. As far as Franny's eyes could see was a carpet of soft, white squeeze sandwiches. No casseroles, no stews, no sushi, kebabs, just sandwich. Is this all they ever eat? She whispered to herself, and she made another note. Squishy sandwiches. It said Franny stuffed her lunch into the trash. Franny stuffed her lunch into the trash. During recess, the kids decided to play softball. I have the ball, one of them said, but we need a bat, another, and one said. A ball, Franny thought. Finally, something I understand. She reached into her backpack to get one. Just then, a little boy ran past her with a baseball bat. Batter up! She shouted. Said Franny. There's more than one kind of a bat. There's more than one kind of a bat. As her classmates started playing, she looked out her notebook and made another note. A bat could also be a big stick you use to hit things, she wrote. After school, Franny picked up her backpack full of customized dolls and spiders and notes and bats and headed home to analyze the data and she had gathered that day. Chapter 6. Back at the lab. Back in her room, Franny looked over her notes. She made some calculations and puzzled over her findings. Nice kids, she said finally. Kind of boring, but really nice. That night, Franny dreamed about how much fun it would have been to play dolls with those girls.